What's up everybody, this is Master Ian Gamer from BlizzCon 2019, back with just a few more important key details and bits of information we've learned about Overwatch 2 since I did my original overarching news video where I covered all the main details we have about the game. If you haven't seen that video already, you can check it out through the cards on screen, but otherwise let's dig into some of these new details, many of which I think a lot of us are going to be very happy to hear. First up is a bit of a clarification as for how exactly Overwatch 1 and Overwatch 2 are going to interact with each other. Originally, Jeff Kaplan described Overwatch 2 as a standalone game sequel, which would have a sort of shared server player base with Overwatch 1, so that regardless of which version of the game you're playing, you can still play with your friends and other people on either version of the game. Overwatch 2, however, would be the only version to have the extensive PvE mechanics, which of course would then be the appeal to upgrade to Overwatch 2. All the cosmetics would transfer over from Overwatch 1 to 2, all the heroes and maps would be shared between them, but more recently we got a bit more clarification on this in that the Overwatch 1 client, the thing you start up and play when you're playing the game on PC or console, is actually going to transform into the Overwatch 2 client. So it's not really people playing two different games that share multiplayer servers, but rather Overwatch 1 will in fact just evolve into Overwatch 2. You'll still need to buy the Overwatch 2 version, or however they're going to handle that, in order to play the PvE mechanics, but all the other cosmetic aspects, so the visual changes, particularly the ones to the heroes, in addition to the changes to the HUD, are all going to just be there for everyone who's currently playing Overwatch 1 at the time of Overwatch 2's release. So in this regard, now it does sound more like just a free major upgrade for everyone who plays the first game, even though Jeff very specifically kind of described it as not exactly being that earlier. There's been a lot of back and forth confusion, and I'm willing to suspect that even the devs themselves aren't entirely settled on how exactly it's going to play out. We could even have a situation where some of the developers have one idea about how it's going to be working and others have a different idea, and they don't even really realize that they're not all on the same page. The solid information we do seem to have for it at this point though is that Overwatch 1 players, once the time of Overwatch 2 release comes, you're all going to get the visual updates, the engine updates, the HUD updates. All of that is going to be going through to Overwatch 1 in addition to any new content going forward, and Overwatch 2 specifically is going to be like a sort of extra thing you have to purchase, which will then unlock the PvE. Next up, they did confirm that there will be at least one new hero released prior to the release of Overwatch 2. And they didn't give any specific details about who or when this new hero is going to release. Hopefully it's going to be a bit sooner rather than later. And again, given that we have no idea when Overwatch 2 itself is going to release, and likely won't be for at least another year, hopefully there will also be more than just one new hero, because if we only get one new hero over the next year or however long it ends up being, that could be a bit disappointing, but we really don't know how many exactly there's going to end up being. We just know there's going to be at least one new hero prior to the release. My guess is it's probably going to be like Echo or someone like that, and they're probably going to release sooner rather than later, probably within the first few months of 2020, if not even before the end of 2019, but that's just speculation. I'll probably talk more about my thoughts on that in a separate video later. Focusing a bit on the PvE mode of Overwatch 2, there are apparently going to be a lot of cosmetic items to unlock via playing the PvE. For example, you can unlock certain things by completing specific missions on specific difficulties. We don't know how extensive these cosmetics are going to be, whether they're just going to be like sprays and player icons, or if there's going to be full-on legendary skins you can unlock. Again, this is one of the things where we only have a little bit of information to work with, and it's likely that the devs themselves don't even wholly know what exactly they want to do with it or how they're going to make it work. Likewise, talents, which we saw from the gameplay footage of Overwatch 2 and its PvE side, are not going to be the only form of customization in the PvE. Again, this was something that they didn't go super specific with in terms of the details. However, Jeff Kaplan did say that they're looking at ways of allowing different heroes to be played even in the story missions, because as a reminder, there are story missions and hero missions. Hero missions are more like the all heroes mode of the archives events that we've had in the past, and the story missions are more like the story versions of the archives missions. And it sounds like like they're looking for ways to add more than just a single set of 4 heroes to be playable. The example that Jeff Kaplan gave was, instead of running Lucio on the Rio mission, which was playable at BlizzCon this year, you could instead run Mercy as a support, given that story-wise it makes sense for her to be in that position. So this could perhaps be one of the extra customization things they're talking about with regards to the PvE. However, it is also entirely possible that there'll be even more details and things you can do aside from that. I would love it because customization is a great thing in PvE. Being able to find specific fun ways that you personally love to play the game, that is always an excellent part of any game, to be honest, but particularly when it comes to PvE, and you don't have to worry so much about the balance of competing against other players. Still a lot of information we don't know in this regard, but just a bit more information we do have. And finally, for this news update, just a bit of information for the current Overwatch 1 in the very near future. Next week, there's going to be a PTR update introducing the ability to queue into multiple game modes simultaneously. This is obviously a move done to tackle the issue of DPS players and their outlandish queue times, so by being able to queue into multiple different modes, it's more likely that you're going to end up getting something to play much faster. Additionally, you'll be able to do more while queuing, in addition to just playing in the skirmish modes. There's also going to be the ability to go into the training room while you're waiting for your queue, and also a brand new deathmatch mode which is specific to people waiting in queue times. Again, we don't have a whole ton of details about how this is going to work, but given that this is supposedly going to be coming within the next week, we're probably going to find out all the details very soon, so we won't have to wait long for that. Additionally, starting in Season 19, there will be a competitive map pool where they cut down the number of maps you can actually play in competitive, and the specific ones they mentioned were that Paris and Horizon Lunar Colony will not be a part of the map pool. So it seems like Blizzard is finally sort of caving into the idea that people really don't like having to play on these maps competitively, and thus they're actually taking some steps to make competitive a bit more bearable. It's a small step, but needless to say, one that I'm sure a lot of people will be happy to have happen. And that does it for all the follow-up news in this quick video. There very well may be more information that ends up getting revealed later today, or maybe even in this coming week. So be sure to stay tuned to my channel, as I'll be covering all the new topics and information we get regarding Overwatch 1, Overwatch 2, and anything else along those lines. Thank you all so much for watching, and be sure to leave your thoughts about any of the news I covered today down in the comments below. Are you excited for the imminent changes for Overwatch 1, or are you just really hyped to finally get to play Overwatch 2? Either way, be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and share it with a friend if you really liked it. Subscribe, follow me on Twitter, and hit up the bell to never miss any of my future Overwatch content. This is Master Ian Gamer signing off, and until next time, have a great day.